Now I am dedicating this simply. See here. Now the same route, the same application, the same route, we need to create an application. See here, we have an option called new application, right? Just click on that new application. I'm closing other one as well. It's taking time. Okay, see here, you will be having a two options. We will be having a two options called, see here, built from scratch, and as well as will be right side, we will be having an other application which we had created right now. Okay. Uh, Now, as per your ideology, now what I need to select? Do I need to select the build from scratch, or else do I need to select this BOA? Can anyone answer to this question? We need to create an application in the BOA accounts. Why? Because we had already created an application on the framework. Okay, on top of it, we are creating a implement application, right? But see here, we had already created a framework application. We had already created a framework application, right? On top of it, we are creating what? An implementation application. See here, we already created BOA accounts, a framework application. On top of it, we are creating what? BOA savings accounts of what? Implementation application. Okay, see here, always the structure would be like this. Okay, so this is nothing but I can say a ground floor. This is nothing but what way? First floor. Okay, we are already created a ground floor. Now, why we need to create another ground floor for this, for a single building? No, right? So that's why we need to create an application on top of it. What? Framework application. Okay, so that's why we need to create an application on the top of our application, right? So that's why we need to click on this one. Okay, now I am clicking on this term. Now see here, built with BOA accounts. Obviously, we need to create this application, BOA accounts. Okay, so just a simply three times continue. That's it. Okay, now we need to, what? We need to nomenclature this application. Now, what we had thought to have this name, right? BOA savings account, BOA savings account, right? BOA savings account. Okay, so this is the naming for what? For implementation application. Okay, so you're not confusing, right? You're following with me, right? Okay, that's great. Okay, now you can go ahead and create this button called create application, but it all, as I said, right? So it always good practice to go to the advanced configuration and check whether my applications all this in a good language or not. See here, it is a framework application, sorry, implementation application. Okay. Now Pega only recommends it what? ID, right? So in order to identify this application, we need to have this ID, right? So you can very well do that. Okay. Now see here, I'm adding another terms of BOA savings. So this is my ID in order to recognize my implementation application, and then later on BOA will be same. Why? Because on top of it organization name, we had already created a framework. On top of it the framework, we are right now creating the implementation application. Okay, so if you want to generate any division layers, right, you can very well do that, but I am not using this division layer for now. Okay, why? Because we don't have any sort of division layers and as well as unit layers. So that's why I'm skipping this one to generate the class layers for generate division layer as well. Okay, so this is the, see here. So this is the identification and navigation as well. BOA is the organization. Application ID would be BOA savings, and next class group name would be work class, where we can do operations. Okay, so simply I am clicking on the save button in order to save this in order to create this application. Now, what type of application we are right now creating? Implementation application we are right now creating. Okay, simply as I felt that all are at a good nature, and then I am clicking on the saving button, and next I am going to create this one by clicking the create application button. Now Pega does its job, it creating the background operations. Okay, it creating the application for us. Now what type of application we are creating? Implementation application we are creating. Since it creating few works, okay, backend works on behalf of us. Okay, see here, successfully we had created implementation application. Okay, on the top of framework application we had created the implementation application. Okay, so the same thing we need to do right now. Okay, now we need to BOA savings account at what? BOA.com. Okay, so why I am using this term called, in order to understand the differences between the framework application ID and as well as the implementation application ID, right? So in order to have a both differences, right? So that's why I have provided the application ID for the both. Okay, so as per your interest you can use your own, but at starting level, right, I recommend you to do the same. Okay, so yeah, so here administrator we have author. Let's see, we are creating with BOA author. Okay, now this is the type. Okay, so why I don't want this admin privilege to my implementation application? Why? Because it's a child of the framework application, right? So I thought ki I don't need the admin rights. Okay, so whenever I do some admin rights, I can very well do in the framework, and very well I can use in the implementation application. Okay, now what we need to do, we need to go to the app, or we can have the done as well. Okay, so anything is fine. So let's click on the done. Okay, it's always good to have that you need to log off from this okay application, and you need to, oh, did I not save this one, right? Okay, I haven't saved this one, right? Okay, nothing happens. Okay, so whenever you forgot this one, right? Okay, so this is a route to know the, this is a route to know the password for that. Okay, so go to the login with any credentials. Okay, so right now I have logged in with admin credentials. Do the same. Okay, now go to the what, we'll be having a mini, right? We'll be having one of the options called organization, and here we'll be having a operator ID. Okay, so click on this operator ID. Okay, and it will load whatever the rules we had created, right? See here, we'll be having a BOA accounts. Okay, and we'll be having what we haven't created, BOA accounts, NPL. Oh, we don't have any sort of BOA savings account. BOA savings. Oh, it's didn't create. Let's see. We'll log in with the this credentials BOA savings account rules. Let's try. So it's saying that what wrong, right? Okay, BOA savings at BOA.com. Nothing happens. We can have the this this password, and then we can have a dedicated we can update that password as well. Okay, we have a BOA accounts, right? BOA accounts at BOA.com, and the password would be rules. Let's copy this one. Okay, so let's create an operator ID so that you will be knowing, right? So how to create an operator ID as well. Okay, so I am going into the Dev Studio. and I'm going to the switch application where we'll be having a BOA savings account, okay, which we had created right now. Okay, so I'm switching into the savings account right now. So this is my savings account. Okay, so which I need to create an operator ID. Okay, so BOA account set. Okay, BOA savings as well. Okay, I have a two axis group. Okay, so in order to create any operator, right, just you need to click a save as. Okay, so we have a dedicated class for this now to create an operator ID. Okay, so just for now, as you know, we haven't taken that one, right, screenshot, right? So as I have done few mistake. Okay, so that's why I need to create once again. See here now, BOA savings account at BOA.com. Okay, now see here, so BOA savings. Okay, so I'm creating now. See here, we already created or not. Let's check. So it's creating. That means I haven't created it. Okay, now I'm creating this one. BOA. Full name would be BOA. And here we'll be having a work. So this is the BOA division unit default. Keep as is. Security. Here you can have this one. See, update password. Okay, so whenever you created that one, right, application, right, so Pega automatically checked in this rule called force password change to next login. So that's why whenever we create an whenever we try to log in with the framework application in the initial, right? So that way we have changed the password. Okay. So if you opt this one password changing, right? So that's why we had updated that password. Right now, I'm just updating the password. New password will be rules. Okay, that would be useful for us as well. Okay, and I'm keeping submitting and I'm saving that one, and I am logging from this environment, and I am whatever the ID we had created, I'm logging with this password would be rules. That's it. Simply what I had done, I had save as to the that one. Now why I'm logging into the admin studio? Why? Because I had the privileges of what? Privilege of admin studio. Okay, why? Because I did a save as, right? I did a save as. Okay, so you can very well do this one, administrator. Okay, now what we need, BOA administrator we don't need. Okay, we need only author. We need only author, right? So that's why I'm saving and I am logging once again. You understanding? You're getting my point, right? Why I'm intentionally, creating this one. Okay, so in the creation of implementation application, we done a small mistake that we didn't copy the credentials. So in order to overcome that situation, right? So what we had done, we had logged into the admin operator ID, and we try to check whether the operator ID has created or not. Okay, but that hasn't created. So that's why we had login with the admin credentials, and we had save as one of the operator IDs. Okay, so those save as functionalities has been inculcated in the newly created. Okay, so since we are creating the implement application, so we thought of to have only this developer options only, right? So that's why what we are doing means we have removed that admin operator credentials access group, and we had done only the authors group. Okay, I am logging off. Let's see how Pega behaves right now. BOS accounts. Okay, and the password would be rules. Let's see. Let's see. Now, which studio I am going into? The App Studio. Okay. Why? Because see here. Why? Because App Studio and as well as a Dev Studio are siblings. Okay. We have the privilege to create an application in both the studios. So, okay. So that's why I intentionally, created this authors group in order to have an idea on this. Okay, so whenever anyone asks, right? So on which platform we have the privilege to create an application, right? So we need to say two type of studios we have to create an application. One is of App Studio and one is of Dev Studio. And the interviewer might be asking, right? So what type of application you use to create an application, or why do you choose so and so? Okay, now we need to say in such a way that based on the client requirement, we need to create an application in the App Studio or Dev Studio. Okay, so if the client says, or if my business requirement says we need to create an app in a very low code or no code, okay, so at that point of time, based on that requirement, I need to create an application in the App Studio. Okay, but otherwise, if there are no predictions or no such requirement, then I always choose the Dev Studio to build an application. Why? Because it has many advanced configurations compared to App Studio. So this is the perfect answer which we need to satisfy to the interviewer in a confident way. Okay. So right now we are jumping into the Dev Studio. Now you got right. So why we had provided the Axis group as authors? Author is nothing but what? Developers. Okay. Now say successfully we had created what? We had created how many applications? Two applications.
Two applications.
Okay, one is of framework application and another is of. Now, can anyone say how many types of applications we have right now? Can anyone say?
Two applications. A framework implementation. Three applications.
What are those three then?
Framework implementation and base first application. Base
Perfect answer.
new application.
Perfect answer. It's a perfect answer which I am expecting. Okay, so I need to note it, I think. Right, perfect answer. See here, so in order to build any application on the Pega, right? So we'll be having a base. So that Pega will take care. That Pega will take care. Okay, so at least we'll be having some base layer, right? So nothing but we should have a land. We should have a land. So on that we'll be having a foundation stone, right? Okay, without having land, we are not have to we are not here to create any sort of foundation layer, right? So that's why land is nothing but land will be providing by Pega. That is nothing but platform. Okay, so by default, if you have a licensed Pega platform, or else if you have a student version like this we are practicing, right? By default, we'll be having a land, we'll be having a property. Now, which property? Base class. Base class name about Pega platform. So on top of it, we are see here. This is nothing but what? We have a base class. On top of it, we are having a framework and as well as the savings implementation. Okay, see here on the App Explorer, this is the App Explorer. Okay, we'll be having a three application. Okay, now see here application. See here, this is the foundation Pega platform. On top of it, we had created a what? A framework application, BOA accounts. On top of it, we had created a what? BOA savings account. You getting my point? Okay, so we intentionally created a generic application called accounts. Okay, in future we may need to create a mini application called current account and as well as a demat account. Okay, so try to follow my words. Okay, so we had already have a base application called Pega platform. On top of it, we are created a framework application genuine way, generic way, so that it can be reused to the what implementation. Going further, you need to create and we need to create a many implementation accounts as well. Okay, So this is the complete idea of creation of the applications. Okay. So how we need to create a framework application and as well as implementation application, and how we can debug the issues. Right now we had done a silly mistake in a, we didn't copy the credentials, right? So how we can overcome that one within a smart way and within a fraction of seconds. Okay. And how we can create the operator ID as well, we have seen. Simply save asing that one, but no need to worry about the creation of operator ID. Okay, so we have a dedicated session on the okay.